So today's session is about shifting of the consciousness on this planet today. I'll catch you shortly. Stay blessed. So welcome back. My name's Sage. I'm from Cant Holistics, where we learn together and we grow together in the sight of God. So today I want to speak about consciousness that is happening on this planet today. Now, be all aware, obviously, it's November 2020, and this year we've had a lot to deal with, from the global pandemic to the changing things that happen in America, to the realization of things in the UK, and also Russia and various bits and pieces that's been going on in the world media. So today I just want to address how and if these things are shifting, because I've had a lot of people making remarks about how it is, and spiritually what's going on, and making all these predictions and so on. You know what? Totally fine. Make your predictions. That's totally down to you. Again, I only speak from what I can see and what I deal with and what I'm told. So today I want to speak about the conscious awareness of what's happening on this planet. So far we all know that there's been a massive shift, and obviously this pandemic has brought that about, with so many people losing their jobs globally, so many people even losing their homes. But on the flip side of that, so many people starting businesses, so many people getting to know their family more, and also for people reuniting from people they're not seen in a while. And there's been also a conscious awareness or conscious shift around looking after our fellow man, especially, or fellow human beings, to say, especially when obviously this pandemic hit with the first lockdowns, and you've had a lot of people going out, supporting people and being out in the community, and also for people who work for NHS, and also people on the front line who necessarily were almost kind of like looked down upon many years ago, but almost like now are so much respected because people are seeing the amazing jobs that they do. So today I wanted to say, like, for me, I think this is just like the beginning. I don't think it's the beginning of anything bad. I think this is the beginning of a state of changes for the better. You're going to find a lot of the outers, or things going to be put out, like garbage is going to be disarrayed, negativity is going to be pushed out, and positiveness is stepping forward. Because you start seeing that in, obviously, America with Trump leaving and all the holding on to power and things like that. You see things being looked at even in Russia and also in China, Japan as well. And you see in the UK where normal people, are really looking at what is really going on within their own community and within their own self. And I think a lot of the times now, I think people in power are getting a bit more worried or concerned that people are now becoming self-aware, and they also are not afraid to kind of ask that question, like why, or what you're doing, and why is it like this, and all these why questions, which is important to ask because obviously it's about you. The other thing is, well, there's with these changes and people not realizing, not understanding, or wanting to stay in power when they're not allowed to be, in that sense, or they should have gone. And I'm not just talking about Trump here, I'm talking about just people in general. I'm talking about the day-to-day people who would be oppressors in some way and look down upon others, even people in power, for example, people who have money and also status. You find also with Harris in America, who now obviously Biden's now in, and Harris is the first female vice president and also the first woman of color. Now, all these significant changes have been happening. I know you're seeing a lot more movements happening. You see people become more, not just consciousness awareness around black people. I think there's more conscious awareness around our own self-importance, our own self-need, and what are we here for? We're questioning what our existence is about. Why are we with certain people? Why are we following certain suits? Why are we just staying in this like prism of ideas where there has been many shifts and many changes, but we're now not afraid to turn around and say, look, we don't agree. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And a lot of people like to say they like just to toe the line, they don't like upset, they don't like change. And again, a lot of people don't like change. That's fine. You know, at the end of the day, there's some people that do like change. And for me, we are going through changes no matter what. Whether you like it or not, there's always going to be a change, whether there's change of people in power, whether there's change of home, change of jobs, or change of consciousness or thinking or ideas or people have been changing. You know, I think back to the days my parents were around, and obviously when I look at the short space of time where I kind of knew them, because my mum passed when I was 19, my dad when I was 25, I thought about the ages for me when I was really aware of who my mother was, from when I was 16 to when I was 19 when she passed, was in a way 4 years. And those 4 years felt like it was 20 odd years or 10 years. But reality is it was only 4 years, which isn't that long. And for me, whenever I speak to people or talk to people about people they are dealing with and they are refusing to embrace change, or they're afraid to face change, which is understandable, I always say to them, look, things are going to naturally change, and would you not rather be in control of the change than you have to change under someone else's direction? You know, so I think let's work on our own changes and how we want to move on and where we want to be at. I've been in the same reflection for probably about a week now, and things have been up and down, and I've just been thinking about obviously my health, my life, and what's everything's about, and how people fit into it, and where it was, and why do people act certain ways. And in my conclusion, you know, just people in general, especially in the media and people out there in the community, I can't change that. I can't change the way people are around me. I can't change how things are going to be played out. But there's one thing I can change, and that's how and it's the same when I say about you can have control over how you react to these changes. And I heard a politician say that if you don't like something, get a pen and a pad and write a letter. You do two things: you either write to the government, or you start your own kind of party or poll, or get a following, and then you will be heard. There's places, obviously on YouTube, you can express yourself. There's places in the community and platforms you can express your views, because if you've got a view, there's bound to be someone else that thinks the same way. And as I've been developing, I've been looking at my YouTube statistics in some way, thinking, oh look, these are not where I want it to be, and blah blah blah. But the reality is, I think I'm not really bothered about that, because I enjoy doing what I do. I enjoy sharing my journey, and I know individually over a period of time these will soon affect, or later on help somebody out there, if not now, in the future. But when I see people and I reflect on what's going on in the community, or I see people in the community, especially for example in America, where there's a refusal and also an incoming thing coming in, like, you know, Trump's still there and you got Biden coming in, and it's like, let go, you know, let go. And it's not, I don't say that in a malice way or what's going on. I think sometimes change happens and God's always got something bigger for us to do. You've served your time, we've served our time, we've done what we needed to do. Embrace the change that's coming and move on. You know, And for me, and I tell people who I work with or who I'm helping or I'm coaching, if they're in a relationship and a relationship is struggling and this person refusing to stay and they want to get on and they just want them back, I always say, look, if they're not with you, you can try and pursue them. But you can't change them. They made that choice for whatever reason. You can have the discussion with them and try and find out where it came from, where it failed, where the issues were. But by and largely, work on yourself, because I've always believed that your partner should not be your biggest. They should be your biggest supporter, but they shouldn't be the one that defines you. You should be the one that defines you. They are there to help reinforce that defined person of you. They are there to be the pressure, the support, the wings, the wind beneath your wings, at the end of the day. And we should not always rely. It's good to rely and reflect back to your partner, but it's not always good to think that they are the beginning and the end of life, because that puts too much strain on the relationship. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's just my view. And for me, with my partner, who I'm with, my fiance, how we work is like we support each other. It's how we grow, and you have to grow through that motions. And if you're constantly trying to change somebody or change a situation, or you're not accepted, you're being released from work. And I know so many people who obviously were on furlough and now they've lost their jobs and they're in that stuck place. They don't know what they want to do. And my first thing I say to them is, look at find out what it is you enjoy. Find out where you are right now. Look at where you were and what you enjoyed about your last role, what you've done before, and look at what you enjoy doing now. And if you look back and it's quite bitter, then look at what you enjoy doing today and where your life is going. Because I believe all these things happen for a reason. And as morbid it may sound, and I know how tough it is, and I've lost my job many times over a period of years, or made redundant and so on. But and I've gone through the same process of where I've been really angry and I've tried to change things and had to hate. But I've just come within myself, and when I go into meditation and I'm speaking to God and so on, and He just goes, look, Sage, you are here for a reason. These are just the stepping stones for where I want you to be. If they don't want you, my mum said a beautiful line, if they don't want you, don't want them, and it's just as simple as that. And I've kind of lived from that view in the long run. So if somebody wants to be with you, if somebody wants you at their workplace, if they want to keep you working, if you want to develop yourself, and I don't want it to sound really morbid or anything, because it's not. I don't want you to look at change, or our consciousness of change is changing. We are changing, and it's better to be aware of it and work on it and work with it than to fight against it. Because if you fight against it, there's all this negative energy, which is just going to delay you and push you back even further. And if you come together and you go, okay, well, this is what's going on, I can start working with that and get in that cog of change and then start moving forward. And then what you find out, you may find that certain people appear, and then certain people start working with you, and certain people start developing, and then you start to grow, and then your expansion of your consciousness of self start to become a higher and more powerful individual. So that's me for this session. And the next session, what I'm going to reflect on and talk about is the hero's journey. As I keep saying, I'm doing the series. I think I'm on number 6 now, so the next one's going to be the approach. So I'll see you in the next video, and stay blessed, stay safe, and namaste.